Hello everyone, welcome to the online version of our Signs for Life program. We're excited to have you, where for the next several weeks we will be delving into the basics of American Sign Language. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to message us anytime at the link below. Now, let's get started. Hi everyone, before we get started with the alphabet, there are a couple of very important rules that go with sign language that we should be mindful of. The first is, generally everyone is either predominantly right-handed or left-handed. Some of you may be ambidextrous. I personally am right-handed. Your hand that you prefer to use, or your dominant hand, is also going to be called your action hand. So in sign language, some signs only use one hand. And generally, when you are using one hand, it is always going to be your action hand. So when we use signs that only require one hand, you will always see me using my right hand because I am right-handed. Some signs use both hands. Some signs, you may make the same exact symbol in both hands, and you will motion them in the same exact way, so it doesn't matter if you're using the right or left hand predominantly, such as sign. You all are learning sign right now. However, some signs that utilize both hands, maybe you make the same symbol or hand shape in both hands, but only one hand moves and the other is stationary, as in the sign autumn or fall. Autumn is in the season. But notice I am right-handed, so my right hand is going to be the one that moves, as in the leaves falling off of the tree. My left hand is staying still. If I was left-handed, then I would simply have my right arm or hand stationary and move my left hand down. Autumn. A second rule that's good to remember is we should not switch hands back and forth if we're only using signs that require one hand. For example, if I started reciting the alphabet, I am not going to start with my right, A, and then switch to left, B, C, so on and so forth. If you're right-handed or you're left-handed, you should stick with that hand when you can and don't need to use both hands to make signs. And last but not least, and probably most importantly, signs should match your face. And a good way to remember this, I tell all my students in class to remember, fix your face. Your face should match what you are signing, or your facial expressions should match the sign that you are making. For example, if you are happy, the sign for happy is waving both hands upwards towards your face. So you should be smiling as you make happy. Vice versa, if you're maybe angry, the sign for angry is to scrunch your hand at your face. You should be angry, not smiling if you're angry. So make sure your face matches the sign you're making so that you don't send a confusing message. And if we're all good with that, then let's dive into the alphabet. Our first letter of the alphabet is going to be letter A. To form letter A, we will start with an open hand and we will make a fist and leave our thumb planted firmly at the side of our fist. A. Our first word for letter A will be what we're learning, the alphabet. To sign alphabet, we will just simply sign A, B, C. A, B, C. Alphabet. Our next word for letter A is going to be A for apple. To sign apple, we'll create a letter A and slightly raise our index finger and bring it to the side of our mouth and twist it twice. Apple. Our next word for letter A is going to be A for alligator. Pretend like you have a set of jaws, alligator. Our next sign for letter A is going to be A for autumn. Sign autumn, we'll take two open hands and I'm going to use my action or dominant hand and I'm going to brush against my other arm. Autumn, as in the season. Our last sign for letter A is going to be A for angry. Don't forget to make the proper face, angry, to go along with the scrunching of your fingers, angry. Our second letter of the alphabet is going to be letter B. To form B, we'll start with an open hand and we will shut and close our forefingers and place our thumb over the front of our palm, B. Our first word for letter B will be B for blue. If we wiggle letter B twice, that signifies the color blue. Our next word for letter B will be B for boy. If we take letter B and we open our thumb and pinch at our head twice as if we were grabbing the brim of a baseball cap, boy, boy. Our next word for letter B is going to be B for big. We're going to frame something as if it's big, like it's large or big. Our next sign for letter B is going to be B for ball. We'll take our hands and we're going to touch all our fingers together to form the outline of a ball. And last but not least, our final word for letter B is going to be B for banana. We're going to use our index finger and pretend it's a banana that we are peeling. Our third letter of the alphabet is going to be letter C. To form C, we can start with an open hand and bring our four fingers together and curve them downwards along with our thumb and turn it to make a C. C. Our first word for letter C is going to be C for colors. To signify colors, we can take our fingers and we're going to wiggle them on our chin a few times. Color or colors. Our second word for letter C is going to be C for cold. Don't forget, if you're cold and shivering, you make a face as if you're cold. Our next word for letter C is going to be C for car. We're going to pretend like we have a steering wheel and we're driving a car. Our next word for letter C is going to be C for cat. We're going to grab and pretend like we have whiskers, cat. And last but not least, our final word for letter C is going to be C for cookie. We're going to take our scrunched up hand and our action hand and put our other palm flat out and we're going to tap and rotate. 1, 2, a cookie. Our fourth letter of the alphabet is going to be letter D. And to make D, we're going to start with our open hand and we're going to wrap our 3 fingers on the end and touch our thumb, leaving our index finger pointed up towards the sky, like so. D. Our first word for letter D is going to be D for deaf. Sticking our index finger up, it does not have to be letter D, just our index finger. We're going to point right under our ear and then right next to the side of our mouth. Deaf. Our second word for letter D is going to be D for drink. And we're going to act like we are holding a cup and pretend like we're taking a drink. out of a cup or a glass. Our next word for letter D is going to be dry. And to show dry, we're just going to take our thumb and our index finger and we're going to kind of curl them and drag them across our chin. Dry. Dry as in dry weather, or our food was maybe dry. Our next word for letter D is going to be D for, now using both arms, day. And I'm going to use my action hand, which is my right hand, to form an index finger and bring it down across to my other arm, which will lay flat. Sort of like the sun starting in the middle of the sky and working its way across the sky during the day and ending up down over the hill. Day. Our fifth letter of the alphabet is going to be letter E. To form letter E, we can start with our open hand and we're going to curl our four fingers downwards and bring our thumb inwards towards our palm, like so. There are also two variations to making letter E. The first way I just showed you, curl your fingers down and bring your thumb in. The second way is you can drop your fingers on top of your thumb and rest them. Either way is perfectly fine. I prefer to leave my fingers unattached to my thumb because it's more comfortable, but you can do whatever you like. Our first word for letter E is going to be E for eat. And to show eating, we're just going to pretend like we're putting food in our mouth and we're using our hands, not utensils. If you want to convey that you were eating a lot, you can just do it multiple times, like, I ate a lot earlier. Our second word for letter E is going to be E for ears, or my ear. And you can just pull on the side of your ear. If you were to grab onto your earrings, if you had any, that's how you would sign earrings. Our next word for letter E is going to be E for elephant. And we can just show a trunk using our hand. E for elephant. Our next word for letter E is going to be E for eye, or eyes. Eyes. You can just point at your eyes using your index finger is fine. And our last word for letter E is going to be E for erase. We can take our action hand and we're going to erase, like erase the board, which I just did behind me. Thanks for joining us. I hope you had fun learning the alphabet. Please continue to practice, and until next time, I'll see you later.